What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. It's September 5th today, and I'll tell you what, it is a hot one out here. But fortunately, this garden is designed like a system to help support itself. And this system, it's also scalable. Let's get into today's video. Let's go! This angle growers right here, you might not be able to see much, but this is the spot I've been starting a number of these food forest videos from, just to give you an idea of the progression of how things can change just throughout the course of a year. You can barely see into the food forest. So a couple months back, this looked barren. You had a couple sticks in there. It almost looked like it would never come alive. It's one of the amazing things about nature. You know, it's so consistent. We've got a nice sunflower here loaded with seeds that are ready to go. Fortunately, the squirrel didn't notice this one because I think it's got so much camouflage. But this right here, things are a little too dense in my opinion. I should have came through and had a better hand to give some things more air, more sunlight, but a lot of the stuff are still excelling well. We've got tomatoes and stuff. These little tomatoes I've got planted in a number of locations. Most of them came up on their own, and I just allow them to continue to grow because the chickens love them. Now we'll step into the 7-year-old food forest, and I've got this mailbox here just to hold some of my tools and stuff. And immediately you will notice it's like it's a separate entity, a whole different ecosystem in here. All different kinds of fruiting things, a lot of annuals. We've got peppers. This is that black pepper you guys saw, a number of different ones, all different kinds of tomatoes and stuff. A number still fruiting and do really well. And then herbs that have planted themselves. For instance, this lemon balm here just came up on its own. This one here, almost right in the path. And then we've got flowers and different kinds of things, echinacea and stuff. Because if you're growing a food forest, guys, you have to have all the different elements of a forest. Because if you don't have a piece of the forest in there, then a weed is going to try to fill that niche. So what we try to do is fill all of them, fill the gaps, copy the forest, but have that productive aspect. And I mentioned it in the intro, but the idea of scalability is huge when creating a food forest. I mentioned it once before, but Masanobu Fukuoka, at 74 years old, was taking care of 12 acres of food forest. How could one man take care of that much? And the production was very high. You know, how could one person take care of that much? It's that he designed a system actually to take care of a lot of itself. So he was just the guiding hand, the steward, moving things in the right direction, stepping in when he needed to. That's the idea. So much food in here. I'm behind on a lot of the cucumbers. I mean, a number of them are past, but we're still getting good harvest from them. Tomatoes still performing nicely. You guys probably have seen the recent harvest video I did. I could do another one. There's a lot of stuff ready. A number of different tomatoes back here. I think these are the Rosa de Bern, and then the Sweet 100s next to that. And I think this is a grape tomato that actually came up on its own from last year, doing well. That looks like it'll be actually a good late season performer for us. And the pears do excellent in our location. Got a number of fruiting pears doing really well. Here's a kefir. And this cherry tree here, getting a little boxed in. So I've noticed I'm definitely gonna have to go through and cut some trees actually this winter, which is gonna be sad, but that was always the design. I talked about it. If I want 25 fruit trees, I'm gonna plant 100 and then pick the best ones. And actually in this section, I'm gonna come through and take out some of these raspberries too, because this is a little too thick, not getting enough water. But I still got some tomatoes hidden in here. You always have to. Some nice orange guys and stuff. Look at that baby, ready to go too. So a lot of tomatoes. We're in Jersey, we're known for this stuff, so we make sure we specialize in some of those as well. And this video is going to kind of take you guys through and give you an idea of just how things are really progressing along. You can see underneath the fruit trees, we've got some plants that do well in shade and can fruit and excel in the shade. That's a currant right there. Some strawberries also can do well in partial shade. Growing a food forest has taught me so many things. Being able to come out every day and connect with nature firsthand has just opened my mind. One of the things I've realized in the principles is when starting a garden like this, harmony must be one of the guiding things. Harmony and cooperation. Of course there's going to be some competition, but we don't want too much competition and things crowding each other out. We want an idea of harmony where things can encourage one another. That's why the idea of companion planting things that grow well together, has to be in there. That's where harmony kind of ties in with that, I believe. And also following just these principles that we have out here every day. So be thankful for those too. Just the idea that if you want to grow a garden, you don't have to create sunlight. You don't have to create a seed. You don't have to create dirt. All you have to do is just take these things that are all out there, accessible for everyone. Everyone's got sun, everyone's got rain. maybe not a lot, but you have rain. And everyone can get some seeds, even if you have to go get them wild out there. So all we have to do is put these things into place and let nature take over, which is incredible. Think about that. If you had to make your own tree, you know, that could keep you up really late at night. I heard someone say that. You know, that'll keep you up late at night trying to think, how do you make a tree? So let's look at these things. Let's not complain. Let's be thankful for these opportunities. Try to align them in the right way and use that word again, design, with cooperation and harmony. And I'll promise you one thing, growers, not everything is going to work every time. But we need to learn, especially from our mistakes. Look at this right here. This, to me, looks more like competition rather than cooperation. This one big peach tree here, it's not able to get light because we're getting crowding from this hazelnut over here, and also that hazelnut over there, and that new cherry tree there. So some decisions are gonna have to be made. And this cherry tree here. Looking at this, you know, this one peach tree may have to go, even though it's performing well, in order to open up light for the rest. So that idea of cutting away and sacrificing, potentially, you know, for the greater good. It could hurt, but we're looking towards the future, and the hard decisions sometimes are the ones that need to be made. So a number of the Chijiro pears still on here. I just come out and eat them as I want them. I'm not gonna harvest all of them and just have them sit, because there's nothing better than right off the tree. This kind of food, it doesn't ever have to be washed or cleaned or anything. That's why this idea of gardening, this style, in my opinion, is just so incredibly appealing. Everything about it is appealing. You know, the fact that the system helps it take care of itself, the fact that the food is as natural as you can get it, you know, the fact that the food is beautiful, and, you know, everything, in my opinion, feels good. And when we can have that idea of just good all around, it's a good feeling. And I think that's something that we should pursue. As we come through here, you can see the strawberries in the ground and stuff, the raspberries, asparagus, that true food forest feel. And we allow things like carrots, as you can see here, to go to flower sometimes, because this umbrellica style of flower where it shoots out to umbrella, that's really good for drawing in pollinators. We talked about that before with the coriander, things like that. Here we've got the next round of peach tree coming up, because your peach trees, they'll actually only be in like heavy production for about like 7 to 10 years. So you want to be looking towards the future and knowing that you got to get the next round of trees growing. So look at this right here. This is just ridiculous. I showed you guys in early spring all the green beans that were coming up underneath the tree. I said, I'm going to pull out as many as I can, because it's going to come to the point where I just can't keep up with it. That's what happened. I think these are the Cherokee purple pole beans. So productive, so delicious though, so it's not a bad thing that they're all over this tree. And this tree was looking great this year, better than it ever has, but every year the fruit splits on it. So I'm not sure if it's something I think I should invest a whole nother year on. I may be able to open this space up and get something in there that's productive, something that I really want to eat. And I talked about the curculio to you guys, how they hit our fruit this year hard, harder than they ever have. They left us, dropped one of our apples, a golden delicious. So it looks like about ripe. I'll have to try this one, see how it tastes. I'm sure it's gonna be delicious. Let me just, let me get a bite, see what it's like. We'll try this golden delicious here, and right when I put that green bean down, you know who was on it. The little guy. I love this dude. Shadow. He likes being on camera too, and I read you guys' comments. Honestly, I was just blown away by the support, the love you showed for Tuck, and for me in the Hall Garden. It means so much to us to know that we're bringing you value, that we're connecting, and that we're encouraging you all. That's why we do it. There's this idea that, you know, I myself, I can only grow so much. As much space as I have, there's a limit, there's a max on how much food I can grow. But if I encourage you to grow, you know, the thousands of you watching, if you all get a garden growing, that's 1,000 gardens. But even bigger than that, if you get other people growing gardens, we can start an army. Bill Mollison talks about that. When he first started gardening, or into permaculture, he found this stuff out. He said, you know, I'm going to go start my own permaculture farm or whatever. He went out to the woods, cut an area out, built a house. Took him a couple months. He was done, sat there and said, wow, I've done absolutely nothing. I got to get out there. I got to get people growing. So that's why we have this channel here. We want to encourage you to get growing, and I want you to get out there and get others growing as well. That's why we do this. Let's try this apple. Insanely sweet. Thought it was gonna be a little more tart. Very sweet, very delicious. So I'm not gonna eat this whole thing now. I have to throw it into the fridge and have a snack after we're done filming. Let's keep going. I wanted to show you hidden underneath these green beans too. We've got a pepper that just got a little heavy. I didn't come and stake it, but it's still holding on. Those green beans took down this sunflower, small one here. It also took down this pepper, loaded with nice big peppers. This must be the flavor burst. I've got some of them in the small food forest. I'll have to show you. Maybe this video, maybe the next one, depending on how long this runs. I wanted to get back to that idea of scalability again. And Joel Salatin talks about that a lot, who, as you know, is one of my huge mentors. And this idea of being able to create a system or whatever you want to create that could work in a small scale, like I have here. Well, this garden's only about like 55 by 67 feet, so it's not a huge area. But the same idea that this garden is drawn on or built on, the same way that it takes up this small area, this could be the same exact setup for 12 acres like Masanobu does, 20 acres. So this whole thing is scalable. It can be moved up and you don't have to change that much of it. The whole design is going to remain the same. Here's another new peach tree coming up, which is great. So there aren't that many things which are scalable and actually still work well when they're scaled up. So some people talk about how they're, I've seen titles on YouTube and stuff, a man quits his job and farms on 1/12 of an acre. In my opinion, you could get almost any amount of food on a small location. It's all based on how much work you're going to put into it. So that has to be the balancing factor. You may be getting good harvest, but how much work per harvest are you going to get? So when you work with nature, you allow it to do the work rather than you. So that's an important principle, I think. Let me bring you over to this other pear tree here and show you. It's one we put in just last year, and it's already got great looking pears on it. So I talk a lot about how getting the right kinds of trees in, having those as foundational ones. Pears do great for us here, but also getting the right varieties after you find the right kind. That little tip right there, guys, getting the right kind of fruit trees and getting the right varieties, that's something I wish someone, stressed a lot when I first got this food forest in. I would be to production a lot quicker. I know that. That's why we make these videos, so you can learn from my mistakes, learn from my triumphs, because the difference between me and you guys is very small. I don't claim to be some garden guru. I learned from being out here, from reading the books and putting the time in. The only way you're gonna get good at something is to do it a lot. I heard someone say, how long do you want it to take to get good at something? Do it often. You can see the Curculio saved us a beautiful apple up there, a nice red delicious. I can't wait to get up there and grab it. And I've got a cool apple picker I'll show you guys I'll have to use, because these trees are getting massive. But we had decided, we'd go for height, tall trees rather than wide trees for some of them, especially like the apple, because they like growing, as you see, up a more one central leader, as opposed to like the peaches, which grow with more of an open center. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. Obviously, I didn't make it into the new food forest. I was just having too much fun in here, spending time with you and just walking through the garden and enjoying myself. Maybe just a little crazy though, because I'm talking to a camera, but I can feel you on the other side, even though you're not there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. Don't forget to check us out on Steemit. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, how I previously mentioned, that like if you want to get good at something, you've got to do it often. So there's a little story behind it, and it's kind of like, if you take your hand, your one arm, say your right arm, and you tie it behind your back, and you don't use it, you refuse to use it, well, eventually you're going to lose it, because whatever you don't use, you lose. On the other hand, if you take that same arm and you become a mason and you're working at it, pounding, that's going to develop a strong muscle. So it's the same principle when it comes to gardening or anything else. If you want to get good at something, you got to do it often. See you guys in the next one. Talking James Prigioni.